Welcome to What a Creep, the show with Margot Donahue and Sonia Mansfield talking about creeps from the past to the present.
This is your quick guide to the biggest creeps, jerks, assholes, and losers, the best of the worst.
From two nice ladies who want the world to be a little less creepy.
Welcome back to What a Creep. This is Margot Donahue, and my cohort and creepitude, as always, is the amazing Sonia Mansfield. Hey, Sonia.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. Yes, you are my co-host and not Tony Robbins.
What? Apple has Tony Robbins tagged on our podcast like he's one of our guest hosts. I'm like, he was kind of a guest on the show.
Like we made fun of him for an hour, but okay. If you're expecting Tony Robbins to join in the discussion, he won't be here.
He's not even supposed to be here today.
So we are the podcast that talks about creeps from the past to the present. What we do is one of us picks a creep and the other one is challenged to come up with somebody who's a non-creep. We are going to be talking about Megyn Kelly today. And I think you'll enjoy our non-creep today. She is a non-creep from the past that I super enjoy. There's a couple of TV movies that have been about her from my youth that I remember enjoying.
Your youth.
My youth. But first of all, I just want to let you know that you could find us on a basic Facebook page, but we don't really check that. That's just a place where people go to complain about our language. We use salty language in this program.
Fuck yeah.
We tend to be much more interactive in our Facebook group. You do have to answer a few questions before you join the Facebook group, but that is the place where we are, like I just said, more interactive. We're on Twitter at CreepPod for now. We'll see what happens with CreepPod, and anybody who works for Twitter, we're really sorry what's going on over there right now.
Total bummer. We're so sorry, everyone at Twitter. That sucks.
It really fucking sucks.
He's such a trash can.
We're at CreepPod on Twitter because somebody had What a Creep on Twitter for over 10 years and never used it.
Creep.
We'll try something else on social media, but anyway, we're on Instagram. What a Creep Podcast.
Yeah.
We interact there. And we have an old-timey email where you could reach us. Sonia, we got a great email this week from Kristen. It's whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. That's where you can ask for stickers. And Kristen likes to put one on her old-timey paper calendar that she keeps on her desk. And she needs a new one for the new year, so I am dropping one in the mail for her.
Good call.
Yes. So anyway, Sonia, do you want to talk about our website real quick?
Yes. You can go to whatacreeppodcast.com and it's everything you ever wanted to know about our podcast, but we're afraid to ask. It has links to all of our episodes, and in those episodes are our show notes because we source every single episode we do. We're not making this shit up, and we want to give credit where credit is due. So you can find that there. There's also a link to our merch shop where you can get t-shirts and journals and tote bags and all kinds of good things with the What a Creep logo on it. The shirts are super comfy. 'Tis the holiday season. Get your stuff now. And there's also a link to our Patreon page. You want to tell them about that?
I want to say thank you to Marissa, Sands' mom, and Lisa for just joining our Patreon page. Thank you all so much. Also, wanted to say that the first 4 seasons of the show are on the Patreon page. We put out 2 bonus episodes a month. Sometimes we just squeak one in at the very last minute. And then we put out a newsletter every month. Sonia puts that together. We're getting one out this weekend.
Yes.
And it's just a way to help pay for the cost of putting the show together. We really appreciate all of you for helping us with that. We also just want to say, we understand that money's tight and things are kind of crazy in the world right now. So if you can't make that kind of investment, we totally understand. If you could just leave us a few stars wherever you get your podcasts. We want to thank the people in iTunes for leaving us a good review, especially Steph B-Day Girl for leaving us such a nice review in iTunes. But also, y'all in Spotify have been just leaving us stars left and right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much at Good Pods and stuff like that. Or seriously, just enjoy the show. Just have a laugh.
Tell a friend.
Exactly. Tell a friend. And what else do I want to say? I just want to say I've been on a book tour for my book filmed in Brooklyn. I want to thank.
Yes, you have.
And I want to thank Jackie Kashian for The Dork Forest. She let me come on to talk about my love for Stephen King, and it was a hoot. It was so much fun.
Can't wait. I'm listening to that today.
I also was on The Animal That Changed You, and I have a story in there about an edibles gone wrong episode, but it also was heartwarming, but it,
Yes.
And also I was on Maximum Film, which is from the Maximum Fun folks. So thank you all very much for letting me on that show. And if you're coming over from there, thank you for making the journey to What a Creep.
Yes.
Welcome.
Are you talked out? Are you sure you want to record?
No, I'm getting more and more egotistical, Sonia. I'm really.
No, she isn't. Everything's fine.
Okay, so we are talking about, I think we gone through everything, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Some people make that joke like 35 minutes into a podcast. All right, so let's get into our topic today. We're not that bad.
We're not that bad. Hey, we have housekeeping things we have to do. We have to.
We like to ease into the show. That's just how
Yes.
that's how we roll. We're chatty.
We are chatty people.
We go on tangents, but we always have a destination in front of us.
Yes. Yes. Are you ready to get into this creep?
Oof. She has been in the news lately, Sonia.
I know. And she's been on the list for a while. We're going to talk about Megyn Kelly, y'all. I'm going to pull up my notes here. Trigger warnings, racism, sexism, sexual harassment, and the debate over what color Santa is. That in mind. Sources for this episode. Again, we source everything. The Advocate, Brittanica, The Cut, The Daily Beast, Gawker, Media Matters, MSNBC, The New York Post, Rolling Stone, Uproxx, USA Today, Wonkette, and our good friends at Wikipedia. Megyn Kelly wasn't just one of the beautiful blonde talk show hosts on Fox. She was the beautiful blonde talk show host on Fox News. Her show, The Kelly File, was one of the network's highest rated shows, even beating The O'Reilly Factor.
What a beautiful blonde he was.
Yes. He sucked. We already did an episode on him. She left Fox News for a very short-lived stint at NBC, where she was fired for defending blackface. We'll get to that in a little bit. Now she hosts a talk show and a podcast called The Megyn Kelly Show that's on SiriusXM, and I think you can watch it on YouTube, but you don't want to because it's icky. Megyn Kelly is an opportunist. She'll even describe herself pretty much as that. She'll say, I'm a soulless lawyer, she once told the Daily Beast. Give any opinion and I can argue it. I'm not convinced that Megyn Kelly actually believes all the ignorant crap she spews, but it doesn't matter. She does it for money, and that's fucking gross. She's a pick-me girl and a racist. What a creep. Let's start at the beginning.
And let's just say this is a nice break from the child molesters and the serial killers and the other kind of murderers we cover. So she's just your basic asshole.
Yeah, she's an asshole.
And
exactly.
She can stand it.
For sure. Megyn Marie Kelly was born November 18th, 1970. Hey, your birthday's coming, Megyn. How do I wrap this middle finger to you? She was born in Champaign, Illinois.
Champaign,
sure. Yeah. She was raised in Syracuse, New York. She's the third of 3 children. Her father was Edward Kelly, who was a professor at the State University of New York at Albany, and her mother, Linda, was a homemaker until her father died in 1985, and then her mother worked as a nurse at a Veterans Administration hospital to support the family.
Wow.
Yeah, Kelly went to Syracuse University. She majored in political science and graduated with a bachelor's degree in 92. She went to law school. She went to Albany Law School. She edited the Law Review. She was a member of the Student Senate, like clearly a bright person.
She's not a dum-dum.
No. She got her law degree She was working as an associate attorney in a Chicago law firm, and then she later started working for a multinational law firm. Sorry, everybody, I'm stumbling today. Called Jones Day, and she was there for 9 years. She was on the track to make partner, but it was long hours.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very demanding job, and she took a class on reporting and decided she was interested in getting into journalism. So she did an internship at an NBC News branch in Chicago. A friend helped her film a sample reel. And despite her inexperience, she began approaching television stations in search of a newscaster position. She actually wrote in her memoir, which I did not read, by the way, but it's called Settle for More. She said she was actually turned down for jobs because she was, quote, too perfect.
She's hot.
LOL.
She's very beautiful.
Yes, she's too perfect. So in
She's the
2003...
closest thing to perfect I've ever seen. Remember the movie? That was the movie theme. That was the movie theme to Perfect.
Oh, yes.
Jamie
Yes,
Lee
thank
Curtis
you.
movie.
Yes. She moved to Washington, D.C. in 2003, and she was actually hired by the ABC affiliate there as a general assignment reporter. The following year, she applied for a job at Fox News, and she got it because, let's be honest here, Fox News, they don't care if their journalists have journalist experience. She's, like I said, very beautiful, and she's very smart.
Mm-hmm.
So
she's good on camera, I have to say.
yeah. She's an asshole, but she is smart and she's beautiful. So she started with legal segments that she was doing on Brit Hume's show, and then she was doing weekly segments on Creep Bill O'Reilly's show. We've already done an episode on him. Go back and listen. By 2007, she's doing co-hosting duties on America's Newsroom. In February 2010, she's hosting her own 2-hour afternoon show, America Live. And then she started getting media attention outside of Fox News. There was the presidential election in 2012. She's hosting the election night coverage for Fox. And it's projected that Obama's going to win Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And the team that's working the desks at Fox is like, we're projecting it. He's going to win Ohio. And Karl Rove, super creep Karl Rove, who strangely we have not done an episode on yet.
We need to put him on the list.
Yeah. He objected to this projection, and she actually walked backstage. This is all on camera, and asked Rove, is this just math that you do as a Republican to make yourself feel better, or is this real? And when she did this, it kind of positioned her as someone at Fox News who maybe doesn't always fall in line.
She has a spine.
Yeah, she expressed her support for gay rights on the air, but she also, she would bash the Obama administration all the time. She always talked shit about Black Lives Matter, protests and things like that, because she's pretty fucking racist, basically. She would be fine with gay people, but she's not fine with trans people, and then we're going to get into it. So in October 2013, she starts a nightly show called The Kelly File. And that was one of their top shows. But she really isn't, and she still isn't the liberal hero that they thought she was, right? So on her show, she got into a heated argument with her show staff about using a caption where they referred to Michelle Obama as Obama's baby mama.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
I'm like, she's not his baby mama. They're married.
Right.
It's, and she got into a huge fight with her staff.
She wanted to use it, or she didn't?
Yes.
Oh, for God's
She
sakes.
wanted to use it. And then she was outraged when she was told it was racist. And then Fox News was forced to apologize for it, and she passed it off as a junior staffer did that. It's just a joke, kind of thing. It's fucking racist. You wouldn't say that about Barbara Bush. It's something you say.
Or Trump's wife, or Melania.
Yes, exactly. Ugh, she's so shitty. She would go to the extreme, just like they all do on Fox News, right? In so many ways, she's not any different than a lot of other people on Fox News. You know, she warned that the Obama administration is going to force communities that are, quote, too white and too privileged to embrace diversity, whether they want it or not. What does that mean? It sounds like a threat. You know, the Justice Department did a report where they found that the police department in Ferguson, Missouri, was super racist. Like, they found all these emails that were racist. And this is where, by the way, a man was killed. Shit. I wrote his name down. Where is it? Michael Brown. Thank you. There it is. Michael Brown. Michael Brown was killed and they did this huge investigation. It really is like where the Black Lives Movement started. She comes out and says that there are very few companies in America where you won't find racist emails. Really?
So that makes it okay? And really?
I'm all, really? Because that seems like a fucking problem, Megyn.
Yeah,
like,
that seems bad.
Yeah, you know, she loves to talk shit about the Black Lives Matter protests. Like, when a Black person is killed by a cop, she's like, she blames it on Black communities because she says they're anti-cop. She loves to use the word thug when describing African-American people. You know, unarmed African-American people should just be following directions, you know, and they wouldn't get murdered and all these things.
Which is, there are several examples, video examples that you could see that it's not true.
Yes. Speaking of, we're going to go to that right now. So hold on, I'm moving something. Okay. So in 2015, there's this video that goes out, and it's this white police officers, like a few of them, show up at a pool party.
Oh, fuck. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's a majority of like African-American kids, teenagers at this pool party in Texas. And somebody there, some white person was like, I don't think they're supposed to be here, which they were totally fine to be there, by the way. And they tackle one of these kids, by the way, and like draw a gun on them. Like, they like knocked a girl down to the ground and pinned her to the ground. And here comes Megyn Kelly. Well, she's no saint. She's a kid, a child. She's a kid, also
in a bathing suit and flip-flops. Who's she gonna hurt?
Right. And no saint, because the cops told them to leave and she didn't like immediately like run away. You know, it's shit like that that's like normalizing that kind of behavior that is so gross.
Black people, in her view, have to be saintly.
Yes.
Or forget it.
Yes.
Or they're asking for trouble.
Yes.
And
exactly.
White teenagers can be fucking animals that you see on MTV Spring Break.
Yes.
And nobody questions that.
Yeah. Exactly.
The cops are
like,
never called.
No.
Right.
And she's racist. Like, this one is super famous. So in December 2013, Slate ran this op-ed called "Santa Claus Should Not Be a White Man Anymore." And Kelly and her fellow like commentators on her show were just clutching their pearls about this article. And she went on this thing where it's like, for all you kids watching at home, Santa is white. Jesus was a white man too. Like, you know, he's a historical figure, and that's a fact, as is Santa. And I just want kids to know that. And it's like, bitch, please.
Well, first of all, how many kids are watching your show? Did you not know friends that went to the black mall and had a black Santa take a picture with their kid? I mean, like, it's not a big, I mean, what the fuck? What else is going on in the world that you have to like create a problem with this?
Exactly.
That's what you're doing with your intelligent, because she's not stupid.
Yeah,
she's not dumb,
it's just race baiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like culture war shit, right?
Right.
And also, who cares? Who cares if a black family wants to have a black Santa and a white family wants? It's fine. Just have your fucking Santa. But who cares?
She's like, if you give up this, you're going to have to give up all these other things.
Yes.
It's like the kitty litter that they have to have in the hallway and closets in school because the kid's transgender. Oh, wait, Joe Rogan was lying about that. No shit, really? Like, it's little things. If you give up the Black Santa, Sonia, then you're going to have to accept the drag queens. And that means the kids are going to listen to this. It's so stupid.
She contributes to this culture war. Then at the same time, critiques it and is like, how dare you?
And then steps aside, I'm just a reporter and I'm a journalist.
Yeah, I'm just asking questions. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Speaking of fuck you, she loved having racist ex-cop Mark Furman on her show.
Oh boy,
on the regular.
She?
Yeah, she would bring him on to analyze racial issues and police brutality cases.
By the way, a guy who collected Nazi paraphernalia too.
Yeah.
He's a real treat.
This is like having O.J. Simpson on your show as a domestic violence expert.
Right.
Like, he's a racist prick. And it's like, to bring him on as any kind of fucking expert on how people should behave is laughable. Like, she also would also have the president of the Family Research Council and future What a Creep episode, Tony Perkins, as a frequent guest on her show, always like throwing around his baseless like LGBTQ plus rhetoric fear mongering shit. So she's doing her show. It's getting good ratings. She's acting like a trash can on TV and people love it. So then in 2015, she moderates the Republican presidential debate with Donald Trump and countless others. I can't even remember how many Republicans were on that stage.
It was a rogues gallery of doofuses.
It was a who's who of who's gross, basically. It was a bunch of nasty, nasty people. And she asks then presidential candidate Donald Trump whether a man of his temperament should be elected president, because his thing was he says shitty things about women. Surprise, Mr. Grab 'em by the pussy, Mr.
Right.
Calling women dogs and bimbos and pigs and blah, blah. And she calls him out on it, rightly. And he doesn't like that. He doesn't like when people call him out. He refused to participate in the following debate that she was monitoring. He did an interview where he said there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever, meaning she must have been on her period.
Right.
And continued to insult her, calling her crazy Megyn. This is where like media outlets want to grab on to Megyn Kelly and be like, this is the liberal hero we need, or this is a moderate, I think is what they were really hoping. And she starts, there's by the way, her and Trump have made up. They're totally fine.
She totally gave him a pass for all that bullshit.
Yeah, she kisses his ass all the time now, and has refused to accept any responsibility for the fact that like her actions at Fox News even led to a Donald Trump in the first place, but whatever. So actually, before I get into all her media love that she got, in 2016, former Fox News host Gretchen Carlson files a sexual harassment lawsuit against Fox News CEO Roger Ailes, and Kelly joins that as well. And it was a movie called Bombshell. Did you see it?
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, I didn't see it because you told me it wasn't good. And I was like, I am not going to watch that. And I'm sorry that she went through sexual harassment, by the way.
Nobody deserves that.
Nobody. No.
Nobody.
And we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Like, women are just trying to do their fucking jobs. And here comes fucking creepy busy hands that wants to kiss you and grab you. And then when you're like, no, thanks.
All of them should just do their fucking jobs without having to put up with that shit.
Yes.
I don't like her, but she doesn't have to shouldn't have to put up with that shit for a second.
Absolutely.
And I would totally defend her to the nth
Absolutely.
power. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Like, and I made sure I wanted to mention it here. I wasn't leaving it out. Like, this is a thing that happened because, so she does the thing with Trump and this comes out too. And that's when like the media is like, here's this, I think they really thought she was like moderate centrist kind of person.
Flashes of like very moderate, she makes some sense. Like she's just,
Yeah.
And then she
So-
like goes, oh, wait a second. I need that person for an interview one day. So I'm going to.
Yeah. So all these different media outlets start like showcasing her. So she gets this like glowing profile in Vanity Fair. It's like she's the brightest star at Fox News and a newly minted role model for women. And like all this, there's like a whole thing in Vogue where they're like, she's a force for good. I'm like, LOL. And all of this attention starts a bidding war to get her. Like her contract is almost up at Fox News. And in January 2017, she leaves Fox News for NBC News, where she's going to get a daytime talk show, a Sunday night news magazine, and a correspondent for their like events and political coverage. And she was going to get between $15 and $20 million a year. It's a pretty big contract.
I take it.
Yeah, right?
I'm available.
I'm not busy.
I'll take half that.
So her time at NBC was very short-lived. She started there in the spring of 2017. She was fired by October 2018 because during her 9 a.m. hour, because she had this whole 9 to 10 hour of the Today Show was Megyn Kelly.
Which, by the way, was already popular with Tamron Hall and Al Roker, right? Like it was already a thing.
Yeah.
But they really wanted that blonde over there. Like somebody had a boner for her. I just
for sure
a ratings boner for her. Like just they thought she was going to be.
Well, they thought she was going to be the next big thing.
Yeah.
And she wasn't. Like the ratings were shit. Like, and then she did some interview segments. She did one with Putin and it was all like super softballs, not hard hitting. She did another one with Alex Jones where it was like not well received, to say the least. And then she's in her 1 hour segment on the Today Show and she goes into this thing about how blackface is fine for Halloween.
Well, she said she didn't understand. Why is it a problem? Like, is
if I'm
a problem and blackface? Why are they problems? And it's like, whiteface isn't a thing. And I've known blackface as a problem since Give Me a Break, when that was an episode on Give Me a Break.
Right. Exactly. That's a famous episode, y'all, by the way.
Joey Lawrence, he got told straight.
Yeah,
by
Nell Carter told him.
Nell Carter.
Yes. Yeah, she told him what was up. You don't do that. Yeah, like, and I forget what she says. She says something about like dressing up as Diana Ross or whatever. I don't know. She defended it, and then everyone was upset. Obviously, like Twitter blew up. Al Roker was like, "What the fuck?" Basically,
Yeah, Tamron
like
Hall
demanded.
and I had a good hour there, and now this is what we're doing.
So she had to issue an apology. She said that, she was really sorry. She said, I really thought it was okay if it was part of a Halloween costume. I was wrong. I'm sorry. But that on top of like her crappy ratings and NBC's like, how about if we just give you $30 million and you go away? Which she took.
Which I would take too, by the way. I'm willing to go to NBC and make a fool of myself for $30 million. I'll tell you right now, I'll say the shittiest stuff you've ever heard in your life. I've covered creeps for 2 years now. Like,
you're all, I got it.
I got it down.
Yeah. So she leaves NBC, and then after that, like, I don't know, she's trying still to like get her Fox News people back, so she's kind of doubled down on being as shitty as she can be on her show, which, like I said, is a podcast, but also I think you can watch it on YouTube or whatever. So here's some of the shitty things she's doing. She loves to go on angry rants about Dr. Fauci from the National Health Institute. She claims that it's his fault that the pandemic was a thing. Because he's responsible for the virus, apparently. She literally has said he's responsible for people losing their jobs and scaring kids by making them wear masks. She never mentions that like millions of people died all over the fucking world from this virus.
Doctors have worn masks for a century now. It's
It's so stupid. Like this whole thing about like it's Fauci this was a pandemic all over the world. Fauci doesn't have that much sway with the fucking world, you weirdos. Even one time on her show, she's like, I stayed out of the sun for 30 years so I could have decent skin by the time I was 51. And now I have to wear a disgusting mask.
You're also like, God bless you. You have perfect genes and you probably had some nice work done because you have 30 million in the kitty.
Yeah.
You get the right, and you live in the Upper East Side or something.
Yeah. I'm like, again, like no fucking empathy.
No.
It's all about...
And you don't actually have to wear one, by the way. You could just not wear one, but places have a right to say, sorry, you can't come in here. You have to wear shoes. You have to, like, because that also tracks in germs and shit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, people are allowed to have rules. What an asshole.
Yeah, she's given airtime to, like, that Fauci, like, was involved with China to create the virus.
Yes.
She has tweeted multiple times that the COVID vaccine has killed a quote unquote scary number of kids. Also not true. Not true. It's just shit like that. She's pretty transphobic. She'll claim that there's these quote unquote crazy trans activists out there that are making young gay men trans. That's not a thing that's happening. She criticizes medical associations that support trans children. She's equated gender affirming care to conversion therapy. It is not conversion therapy. These are just garbage things. There was a story about a Texas school that fired some staff members for refusing to refer to a transgender boy as a boy, like using the correct pronouns and things like that. And she did a show or did a segment on it and then proceeded to like purposely like misgender this child the entire time. It's just like garbage shit like that where you're like, really,
what
bitch?
do you gain from that?
Exactly. So I think it was last year, the US Open, this is tennis, y'all. I don't know shit about tennis, but they wanted to create stress rooms for athletes. And they were doing this because one of their popular players, her name is Naomi Osaka, came out and said like, she took a break from tennis to focus on her mental health. And they were like, you know what? Being a professional athlete can be really stressful. We should give them space to like deal with their shit, right? So they create these rooms that are like quiet for people to calm down or get in their right frame of mind before they go out.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Which, by the way, National Treasure Dolly Parton has rooms like this at Dollywood for people.
If they said that's a room for prayer, would she have a problem with it?
No.
Thank you.
No, she'd be totally fine with it.
Yeah.
She, so she's shitting all over it and she tweets out to her like millions of followers, good Lord, please never let the snowflakes who need this sign up for our military.
Those are two different things.
Two different things. Also, we have a lot of veterans in this country that have a lot of mental health issues, and you're a fucking tool. Your mother worked at a veterans hospital. She knows damn well what she's doing. She's just being shitty. She's got, anyway.
She's so gross.
Yeah, she refers to herself as a conservative feminist, and I just want to say there's no such thing.
No.
Either you support rights for all women or you don't. That's the thing. And, so the Supreme Court recently overturned Roe versus Wade, and she tweets out, like, whether you are pro-abortion or not, this was the right decision legally. And she says the court set things straight. Now it's where it belongs, in the hands of the people. I'm like, it isn't in the hands of the people. She's so shitty. She doesn't believe in the gender pay gap. She doesn't think that's a thing. She's referred to it as a meme. I don't even know what that means. And she says affirmative consent on consent for sex. This is a whole thing that they want to do on college campuses, right? Where you need to, I don't know, get consent before you have sex with people. She says it's anti-men.
Ugh.
Yes. She, in her book, she claims that she's a guy's girl who used to hang out with powerful men and has no problem with locker room talk. It's like serious pick-me-girl vibes.
Yeah.
She defended Hobby Lobby's challenge to the Affordable Care Act, which, if you don't remember, they didn't want to pay for women's birth control. This was a whole thing.
God
How dare.
forbid.
Yes. And then, of course, came to the defense of gross, disgusting Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh when he was very credibly accused of sexual assault by Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. Keep in mind, this is a woman who filed her own sexual harassment suit and really, you think, would have some empathy and would believe women.
No,
She
it
does
really
not.
happened to her, but it didn't happen to somebody else.
Exactly. Just this past December, she's on Twitter defending men's rights activist, because that's a thing that exists, Jordan Peterson, on her podcast.
Of course
Yes.
she did.
Yeah, she
Hi,
rattled
my name
off.
is Jordan Peterson. Men are struggling. Sonia.
You don't know how hard it is to be a man right now. We have to wash our booty holes. We have to be respectful to women. It's the worst.
But how do you get consent? I don't understand. What does no mean anyway?
They're just words. She rattled off like a whole list of shit about like why it's so hard to be a man right now. You know, she noted that like suicide rate among men in the country is like really high. And I'm sure this is all women's fault, right?
Right.
Yeah. She recently pulled her own children out of schools in New York because she said that there's far left indoctrination going on because they had to learn that trans people exist, or that they had to learn that Black people were slaves at one point. Yes. So any kind of education that's honest about like the mistreatment of Black people by white people is considered racist against white people, according to Kelly. So that is called far left indoctrination to her, and she pulled her kids out of the school. And then she went on Bill Maher to talk about it, in case you want to know just how shitty she is. I hate her. She thinks the media is overplaying the insurrection. It's not that bad.
Oh, okay.
Bitch, watch the videos. She loves to refer to AOC as a moron. I'm like, I think she's jealous.
Yeah.
I think she's jealous of AOC. She calls her a moron. She refers to her as the Kardashian of Congress. I think she's very, very, very jealous. She has people like Alan Dershowitz on her podcast all the time.
He's a creep.
Fuck Alan Dershowitz. We've had creeps like that. Recently, she's been in the news because she's been saying shitty things about Meghan Markle. And the things she's saying are so dumb. So Meghan Markle has her own podcast now, and she refers to Prince Harry as my husband because he's her husband.
Right. I think they got married or something.
Yeah. And Kelly's just like, we get it. Congratulations. You got the big bear. You just want us to know. I'm like, bitch,
How else is she supposed to refer to him?
I don't know. I'm like, did you want to marry Prince Harry? Are you like super jealous?
I'm sure she is.
Like, it's such a weird thing to be mad about. Right?
Yeah, Megyn could do no right for her, I'm sure.
Right. It's such a weird thing. She also came out against student loan forgiveness. Why is she against it? Because she had to pay for college, so you have to too.
Yeah, whatever.
And she says like, we took out loans, but we paid them back. But I think this is the very telling part of, she said this whole fucking rant on her show. And she said, these people are going to go to college. They're going to be elite graduates who are going to spend their years in journalism trying to shame half of America for doing absolutely nothing wrong. What she's saying here is we don't want people to get educated because then they are smart enough to call us out on our bullshit.
Yeah, well, that's been the problem.
Yeah, that's what she said. She said the quiet part out loud.
Right.
I'm like, and then, of course, most recently, somebody broke into Nancy Pelosi's house here in San Francisco and attacked her 80-year-old husband. Is he 82 or something? He was looking for Nancy to murder her or kneecap her or whatever. She's like the third most powerful person in this country, and people are like, meh, what are you going to do? But Megyn Kelly's on her show, like throwing around all the conspiracy theories that Paul was drunk, that Paul opened the door for this guy, that he's a spurned ex-lover of Paul. Paul's 82. Do you think he's like going to orgies and shit? Like, he's not. He's 82.
It was middle of the night. They're like, he was in his underwear. I'm like, he sleeps in his underwear. Because he
sleeps in. Exactly. I'm like, I don't think he was being pervy here. Like, even if he was drunk, he's in his own bed.
Right.
I go to bed drunk all the time.
We all do.
And she's just doing the, I know enough to smell a rat. When are the police?
Yourself there, Missy.
No shit. That's your upper lip, Megyn. Like, she's covering up the truth. Like, who's covering up the truth here? There's no evidence. Bleh, all this shit. It's just all these fucking lies. It's all just to appeal to that like Fox News base that she kind of lost when she went mainstream. And now she wants to get it back. And I mean, you could go right now into any one of my sources, type in Megyn Kelly, and you'll see the most fucked up headlines of shit Megyn Kelly has said over the years. I had to keep it to 3,000 words, so I couldn't keep going. But she's just like sexist against other women, unless they're like white women like her. She's racist. She's transphobic. Like, she is not a good person, and she is not some sort of feminist icon.
No, she's mean and shitty.
Yes.
She's mean, shitty, and petty. And she could be doing a lot more with her power, and she just doesn't see it. She's privileged, and she doesn't see that she's privileged.
No, she doesn't.
Fuck her.
So, seriously, fuck her. That's our creep, Megyn Kelly.
Good job, Sonia.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, my friend, let's do this. Let's take a quick breaky break, and we'll come back with someone who's not a creep. She's no longer with us, so she can't beat the shit out of this woman. No, sorry. No violence here.
No violence.
But we'll take a quick break, and then we will come back with a really cool not creep.
Bleh.
I come in peace, Sonia. I don't know what came over me.
You're fine.
Okay, Sonia. Do you know who Nellie Bly is?
Tell me.
She's a woman. She's a lady person, and she was a reporter. I can't believe they allow that to happen.
What?
There was a TV movie with Linda Pearl, who plays Nellie Bly. She's also there's a drunk history about her. I'll put it in the Facebook group. Elizabeth Jane Cochran was born May 5th, 1864. She's from the Allegheny part of Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh, and from a big family, 10 kids. And she always wanted to be a journalist. And everybody said, "You're a lady person. You can't be a journalist." And she said, "Fuck that. I'm going to be a journalist. I want to be a writer." And when she started writing, she basically had to go to all these reporters. And for women, they were like, well, you could write about fashion. You could write about homemaking. You could write about best recipes. You could write about how to get the stain out, the ring around the collar, that kind of thing. And she's like, fine. And she got her year's experience. And then she's like, please, I want to write about something else. And eventually she wound up at a place called the New York World. And at the time she moved to New York, she's in her early 20s. And let me show you a picture of her. Cute as a button.
Oh, she is so cute.
Isn't she cute? I'll put pictures of her in the Facebook group.
I would wear that dress.
You would totally
wear that
wear that dress. Yeah, you would. she moves to New York. She's super young and like I said, cute as a button. And she goes to the New York World, and it's all these top editors are there. There's 10 newspapers in New York at the time. This is just a whole other world. And she goes in and she's like, I got stories you need to write. And they're like, get the hell out of here, lady. Scram, amp-scray. And she keeps coming in and keeps coming in. And then finally one of them says, okay, we think there's something happening at I'm going to say this is what it was called, but it was the Women's Lunatic Asylum.
Yes.
1887. And it was at Blackwell's Island, which is Roosevelt Island now. And it was a mental health place where they would send people. It was for women. And they thought don't be shocked, they didn't treat people all that well in the asylum.
What?
So Nellie she took on the name Nellie Bly, by the way, because somebody said, you need some catchy name. This Lizzie Cochran's not going to go. I think So she took on Nellie Bly. So she goes into a boarding house, and she goes into this temporary one for just women. And she all of a sudden walks around. She perfected having crazy eyes, like walking around with like all booga 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 and talking.
By the way,
to
we
herself.
all do that so we don't get approached when we walk in public.
This is what we do, right? When we're on the subway, we don't want anybody to bother us. And she starts talking to herself, and she starts acting weird. And eventually she gets taken to the asylum, and she stays there for 10 days. And she goes under an assumed name, and she meets a serial killer named Lizzie Halliday. And she takes all these crazy notes, and she writes about it for the New York World, and it's called 10 Days in a Madhouse. And it gets picked up all over the world. And they basically say they called it stunt girl journalism. And basically they had her just do shit. And they said, get Nellie Bly to do whatever you want. And so Nellie Bly would just go out and just do crazy things. And she loved it. She absolutely loved it. So one of her things was traveling the world in like 80 days or whatever, because they had that book that came out, Traveling the World. So she started traveling the world, and it became a sensation around the world. She met Jules Verne in Paris. She starts traveling the world. And so other papers started chasing her, trying to beat her record. But she eventually came back to New York, and she did it in like 79 days. And she had the world's record for a couple of years, and then some dude broke her record. Yeah. But she was this amazing writer. And then she meets an older man. And by older, I mean, he was in his 70s and she was in her 30s. And he was a millionaire.
Whoa.
And they get married. And then he gets very sick. And so she takes over his company. And she didn't know business very well. And so when he died, she had to take over his business. And the business went down the... So...
Oops.
She went back into journalism, and she started being a reporter in World War I, and went right back to the front lines, and kind of got right back into, she was in Serbia and Austria, just a total fucking badass, like just went right back into it.
I don't want to go there.
No, she would do it. She was just like, I'm done. Let's go. She covered women's suffrage movement. She knew all those ladies out there. Sad to say, she didn't live a long life. She had caught pneumonia in 1922. A lot of people got sick after World War I. There was the flu that came around and stuff like that. And she died in New York City at the age of 57. And she's buried at Woodlawn Cemetery, where all my family's buried.
Oh.
But that is our Not Creep today, Nellie Bly. And there's a drunk history about her, and there's a couple of TV movies about her. And she just was this fascinating girl reporter, and just fought the good fight for people, and was awesome and amazing.
Now that's a force for good.
Right?
Yes. Good pick, Margot.
Well, thank you. And all of y'all, if you have ideas for people we should cover or not cover, please reach out to us.
Don't cover this person.
What I mean by that, sorry, that was weirdly
Yes.
stated. Creeps and non-creeps. That's what I mean.
Yes.
If you have ideas for creeps and non-creeps, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm tired. I've been doing a lot of interviews lately.
Yeah.
We reach out to us on all those places I mentioned at the top of the show. You can also reach out to us on our email, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. If you would like some stickers, honestly, ask us. We will drop them in the mail for you. And Sonia, where can they find you?
You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and Mastodon, maybe?
Yeah, we're testing the waters with Mastodon, which is one of those new social media things. It could be a bust. It could be great. We don't know.
Totally. But I grabbed our stuff over there. So we're there if you want to be there. We're everywhere you want to be.
We're everywhere.
Where can people find you, Margot?
I'm at Brooklyn Fitchick for Twitter and Instagram. My site is brooklynfitchick.com, and I'm at Margot Donahue on the TikTok. And my book is called Filmed in Brooklyn. Thank you all that have bought it. And if you would like for me to send you a signed sticker so you could put it in your book, just send me an email and I will do that for you. And once again, everybody, thank you so much. Stay safe. Don't be a creep.
Creep.
Thank you for listening to us talk about creeps. You can follow us at What a Creep Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
But don't follow us too closely.
You can email us your creepy stories at whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com.
But please keep your dick pics to yourself.